I've been considering either buying a Campervan or Landrover. The idea to fit it out so I can manage to take my kayak on the roof, my bike on the back, and internally fit it out for living accommodation so I can actually sleep in it, have a little stove, and also to have a small sink. I've started by creating the carcasses for the basic units I'm going to put in it, and I've made these just using the basic tools. Drill, countersink drill, saw, square, measuring rules, and a block, mitre block. The joints have been very straightforward to create, no fancy joints at all, just straightforward butt jointing in most cases. I did do some lap joints earlier, but they were actually more than was required, so I'll just fit them up so you can see what it looks like. There it is with the first unit fitted. And that's the second unit in. Finally, with the tall cupboard in place, I have insulation to place on the skin of the van. It's not arrived yet, so I've not been able to put it in yet, but I've got acoustic insulation for the sides and for the roof, and I've got acoustic and close cell foam for the loading area and behind and under these frames that I've made at the side. The insulation should hopefully stop condensation. I'll seal it all with tape. It's silver foiled back, or it will be, and I'll put all that in there and show you that the next time when I start to do that work. But so far, that's the frame. The carcasses are actually bolted in using 75mm angle plates, but out of B&Q, bent to suit the side of the van, where the sides are bolted onto the base. A small keep plate and an M5, M4 type of screw, and that goes through, and that creates the assembly. The keep plate itself is pushed in to one of the existing holes and just bolted up, leaving the angle brackets there for screwing the wooden carcasses onto. The insulation that I put on is a 30mm thick acoustic insulation on the side panels. And beneath the carcasses I've just used 6mm thick insulation, again self-adhesive backed, that's just placed in and taped into place. All the insulation is self-adhesive, a bit tricky to fit in some places, but not too bad. And there you see one of the brackets that I've fixed on and screwed up into the wood. I'm covering the sides with a marine ply, so I've put some foam pads behind that to stop it vibrating. There you can see the roof again treated in the same way with the self-adhesive insulation put in place. Here's the side
cupboard that I made as well. It's clad in aluminium and trimmed on the sides with a trim again out of B&Q to form the cupboard that I will use to contain the gas, because I do have a gas heater to put in the van. It's a catalytic one, so it should be okay. The door actually got slightly bent, but I fixed that. Here you can see the side lockers, just plywood tops, holes in them that you can lift off. I made a table that sits on a lazy Susan bearing and revolves out, extends across so that you can put your full weight on it. Just made that up. Made it to the thickness of the sides so that I could put it back into place out the way. A couple of 12 volt parts there, and there's the stove and gas in the cupboard at the side. The idea of the table, just that it just neatly stacks away right to the sides, and is good. Again, cupboards at the side there, got loads of space. Bringing out there is the extension to the table that I had just put in there in the meantime. Just pull the table back out on the bearing, pull out the end, and there's the extension part that just fits over the extension tubes. Gives you full width work surface to sit against. Again, all fixed in to the main carcasses. The open locker tops sit nicely in there, and I put the sink in again on an aluminium surface. Here you get a better view of the inside with the carpeted sides, with the again the hardwood panels higher up, carpeted on the base with a wood. There's a futon in there that sits as a seat and can be dragged out to sleep on. I basically have a stove in there too, and underneath that put sliding cupboards where I can put pots and pans and various bits and pieces. Quite good. The sink goes into a green bottle just for those. Just water doesn't pump in it. I just heat it up on the stove and use the sink. There's the futon that comes out there. Again, looking to the side, I've trimmed it all in aluminium, which was quite effective. Eventually I put a couple of clips there to hold the stove in place when I'm driving. I didn't want to put the stove in completely there, because I might want to use it outside, so it's just bungee cords there. You can see I clip that on, clip it off, so when I'm driving that stays on there. I can actually cook it in that position because I've made a splashback on it in metal, as well as the base that it sits on, and a glass divide put in there. I even cut the end off the futon base so that I could put some storage under it, and also it was slightly long to fit into the van by an inch or two, so I put that on hooks. Underneath that I store now the table extension, but more importantly I have my little toilet. It's pretty simple. It's just one of those snap up stool type base toilets. As you can see, you just snap it together. You put, it's a dry toilet, you put a bag in it, and it has a means of locking the bag in place just by virtue of a clip that when the bag's in, that goes in, forces the bag to fit on the toilet rim, and that's an emergency toilet that I can use. Yeah, as I said, this is a basic sort of when you're away emergency type thing, but if it's raining and you're on your own, why go out of the van if you don't have to? Especially if you're in the middle of nowhere, you may as well enjoy what little comforts you can. So that just really all snaps down. I think that it was about £15 for this assembly. Again, I bought that sort of thing on eBay, and it just stores under the futon. The futon is pretty good. It gives me good, comfortable sleeping, and also I can sit on it during the day if I like, with the the table across. I can cook and eat on the little table that's folded out of the way there, and store things, as I say, underneath. The futon I've got held in by a webbing strap that just goes through and fits to the holding points at the back of the van, and that way when I'm driving everything is held in place. A little cargo net I've put on the floor. I had that spare net in my garage, so I thought, well, I could put it down there, and if I'm travelling, put things underneath it, stop them rolling about. The end of the futon, it's just got a couple of little clips that hold it in place, lock it solid, and then the mattress, actually store that in the house, don't leave it out. It's just a typical futon mattress. It's pretty good. Here you can see the roller blind that I fitted. I put a couple of table legs that I bought out of B&Q, bolted them down onto the sides, and they go up, and I bridged that across with the roller blind that I made just using a blackout fabric, so that when I want, you can just roll that down just as you would a standard one. I've made a modification to that since I filmed this, just to make it a little bit better fit. I left the space around it purely because it helps ventilation, but I've since decided to close that off a bit. So, but for driving, that's in the up position, and just works pretty well. Now, looking in the cab from the outside, there was too much wood, so I put on the back of the futon some aluminium plate and trim, so that when you look in, on a Dixon Bait tow bar, I've placed a double step and a Pendle bike carrier, which I chose this one because I can take it apart really easily, and if I've left the van, I can just pull the bike support arms out and put them in the back, so there's not a problem in that respect. On top I've put the Thule professional bars, only because I could get a full length roller with those right at the back, so I can roll my canoe up and down on from the back. I've got one or two other things to do on that, but overall I've been away with it, as you'll see on one of my other movies, which was at Loch Tay.